Well, welcome back to the channel. New day, new project. Today's project, working with spare tires. I was kind of thinking I want not to run full-size spare tire. Thought, well, if I got a problem in the back, I got an open differential, it's an ARB, and then I can put the tiny little 31-inch tire in the front and kind of deal with it. But you know, I've been watching a bunch of videos, people four-wheeling and some heavy rock and stuff, and man, when you lose a bead, you're screwed unless you can't pop the bead back on. And sometimes, you know, your air compressor just doesn't have that kind of flow. Most air compressors for, you know, off-road don't have that. You might get lucky, put a ratchet strap around the tire trying to get it, but it's gonna be a lot of work. It'd be a lot easier, just put the spare tire on, just keep going. So that's some of the stuff I've been going through in my mind on running a full-size spare. But man, it's a matter of, you know, where do I put it? So let's kind of go over the options here. So, back of the vehicle. Well, bit of a problem on Tahoe because this is hatchback. You know, it raises up. It's not like a swing out gate or anything like that. The other thing is hooking onto that tow hitch receiver, right? Not too practical though, because every time you want to use this thing, because I mean I use it around town and get groceries, whatever. You got to open that thing and it hangs way out over here, and then open the gate and put it back down, and then it swings way back over here. I've had them. I don't like them. They're not that functional. They're not as functional as, you know, a modern Jeep tire carrier that's hooked to the back doors and the door swings out. I mean, they did a really good job with that design. And then put it on that roof. I can barely pick the thing up as it is, so why would I even try to put it on the roof? I mean, that's almost 7 feet up there. And that's a big boy. I can barely pick it up. It hurts me. When I was younger, yeah, but nowadays, and then you can see down here, give me a flashlight here. Does that work? Yeah. I can see down here, there's a factory spare tire. It's only about 31 inches. And you see it hangs down a lot. So if I put this full size, if I fit it in there, and you know, you can force just about anything. I'd have to chop off the exhaust and maybe scoot this bumper back, which wouldn't be a bad deal. But I mean, it would sit down even further. I mean, it's not below the differential, but still. And that's a good option for running trails that, you know, aren't too difficult, fire roads, that type of stuff. But then what do you do when you're going to get into the hard stuff? You're going to just be dragging that tire all around. So Tahoes have kind of a cool little option. Let me open this up. Look at all that space. And you notice something? These back seats, those are captain's chairs with folding armrests, heated seats. I mean, it's got everything in those things. And even better, now there's, you're like, okay, so they fold down flat. Well, one step further, hold on, bear with me. Gotta find the lever. There we go. That's a fold up, like out of the freaking way. And I was looking, I go, I could actually put the spare tire right across here, except that it hits that arm, so that'd have to be up. And if I had a passenger over there, well, they'd be basically having to smell that rubbery little spare tire all the time. Then I thought, well, what if I just unmount that base and take this whole seat out. Now I even got a whole bunch more cargo and change this into a 3-seater. That was a pretty good idea too. And if I do that, then this spare tire could mount pretty much like where that seat is if I wanted to, or I could turn it 90 degrees and have it run right across here, but it would roll in and out of this doorway pretty easy. But I went out and sought the advice of my significant other, and we debated it. And you know, where we live, we may have to evacuate sometime due to forest fires, that type of stuff. And this is basically the dog crate and the cat crate. And having a couple of seats in there is helpful. So she wants to keep all 4 of these seats. But I don't have to keep these back seats. Right down here you see little spaces there to mount. I actually have back seats that go in there, so it has a 3rd row. They're totally removable, and I don't ever run them. They're really for kids. So what it came down to is that I can always, for extra space for camping, I can roll one or both of those seats forward, and then I still have a lot of room, even though I'm going to put a spare tire right here. And if you look down here, there's holes there, and there's some nice big holes back there for a mounting plate. And I can put the spare tire in here on the deck, roll it up, and it'll fit right there. And the mount doesn't have to be super sturdy, because it's not going to hold the weight of the tire. Actually, the floorboard here will hold the weight of the tire. It just has to keep it from moving around forward, backward, and side to side. So that's where I'm going today. The cool thing is, I don't like it, I can just unbolt it. I didn't drill any holes or weld anything onto the vehicle. So that's today. We're going to give this a shot. So let's see how it goes. Well, here I told you all about taking a spare tire and making a mount for it. And then I went ahead and I just made one. I didn't record any of it. Really boring stuff. You're just going to watch me cut metal. Yeah, it's not much to explain. But nice thing is you get to see the end product, and this is something that you can mimic. So let me show you what it looks like. Okay, so here's the stand. And this stand, show you where it goes. It's heavy. It's gonna go right here, and bolts into all the existing holes that are in here. And there it is. This was just some 3/16 plate that I had ordered for some skid plates, and I repurposed it. This is dome tubing that I had left over from my solid axle swap, so I went ahead and just repurposed that. It was too short to use for anything else. And that's where the tire is going to go. And the nice thing is it bolts in, so you can take it out if you need to, or put it back in. It's held in by 4 of these monster bolts here, and it should do a really good job. Now it's just tacked together right now, and then in here I made this plate, and I'm just using 2 holes to mount this, and then you can see where I drew the hole where I'm going to weld it to the stand. Let me get set up here and I'll show you what's going on. Sorry, that takes 2 hands. So here you can see it on the stand, and that's just going to get tack welded right there. And I'm probably going to tack those bolts in, so I don't have to worry about putting a wrench or something on them, or holding them in, knocking them out, that type of stuff. But the best part that I like about this is that you can see the tire actually rests on the metal stand. So you can basically move this thing around your vehicle and then bolt it down, and it'll be, you know, it's completely supported by the stand. And since this is going to be supported by the floor, then the floor is actually supporting the entire weight of this tire. I'm pretty excited to see how well this is going to work. I think it's going to be a great asset. So now I have a, you know, full-size spare. So let me give you some dimensions. The plate is 18 by 9.5, and then you got to figure out how to master all these holes, these 4 holes that go into your floorboard where the seats used to be held. And then on this plate, let's go from, this would be nearest, okay, that is, get shadow out of there. So that's 5 inches to the center, and it's literally on the back. And I tipped it back just a hair. And then to the top of the plate, this thing's 18 inches high, and then that's 8 inches deep. And then this plate is, let's see, 8 long by 5.5. So it's really a pretty simple setup. Something happened to me. See that welder right there? Yeah, I put the fire on my MIG welder, ran out of gas. I mean, it had nothing in it. So I haven't arc welded in probably 15 years, and I still got it, but only with the 6013, because the 6011, man, that thing's just out of control. That takes some practice. But 6013 rod is, or electrode is pretty mild. And so that's what I you know, went over here and tack welded this together here. And then I got these tacks down here, and you see it makes a lot of splatter and mess. So I don't like it. It's the MIG welder is way cleaner. So yeah, it makes a big mess. So but you can get it done with that, absolutely. And so yeah, I got to do a little MIG welding, and then tomorrow I'm gonna look at, you know, for me it's about a 2.5 hour round trip to get gas. That's what I got to do. So next time, I'm probably gonna do some gussets here on this side and this side, because most of the weight's going to be rolling forward and back from braking, reverse, that type of stuff. Not so much side to side, because of the direction the tire's being held. So yeah, put some gussets on that. Once I weld it up, I'll know. Usually just welding that tubing on it, it's pretty strong, but and I may not need the gussets, mainly because of the way the tire's actually not being held by that thing. It's just being held in place by that. So next time you'll see this all welded up and maybe painted and mounted in the truck. Okay, well, here is the nearly finished product. I've got it all mounted in here. You can see I actually added gussets here, and then I put one down in here and one there, and they're at an angle. It gives it more rigidity and, you know, back and forth. Like all 4 axes or 2 axes, however you want to say that. And the other thing you don't see, but there's actually some 5/8 spacers underneath the plate here, because there's little divots. You can see the holes like right in here. You see the big hole goes under the bar, so that takes up that space and gets it nice and low. So really not a whole lot to it. Just some plating and some drilling, cutting, welding, more welding, a little bit of cleaning. I don't have it painted yet, but I'm going to be taking off tomorrow. Got to do some stuff. So I figured, why not just put the spare tire in there and see how she rolls. And I think that once I get it going, if I like it, I'll go ahead and pull it out. Just those 4 bolts come out, the whole thing comes out, paint the unit, put it back in. But the scary part though is, I mean, this plate here, that wasn't easy to get in. I had to kind of figure out how to get it on there, center and everything, because I had the whole, everything done except this plate. And I used a big old clamp it on there. Not real, didn't clamp it tight, but it was tight enough for me to get a tack weld on it. Put a level up here, make sure it was as straight as I can be. Not, if this thing isn't perfectly straight, but neither is my truck. It turns, it's got curves, it goes down, and it's got curves up here. So, so really the only thing that counts is, can I put the spare tire in? So let's see how it goes. All right, see if I can arm wrestle this baby in here. It's not easy. This thing's so heavy. So darn heavy. Come on. Oh, that didn't work. Not much room to lift. There it goes. I hope I never have to use this thing. Well, that worked. About right too. Well, I don't know about you, but those things are too heavy for me. But let me get a light over here. You know, there's nothing magnetic inside of this interior for. So there you go. Now you can see just about how tight it is. It's right up to the bar, about 1/4 inch off of it, and it just sits there. And you can see down here it's got some support on the plate, and it wiggles a bit. So that's the only thing I don't like about it. Let's see. So we'll see how well it rides. And then also you look at the door sill. Door sill's right here, so got plenty of room. Shouldn't hit in the interior. In fact, you can check that out right now. Why not? Why the heck not? There she goes. Ta-da! So I'm happy with that. Okay, well, I don't think this is the end of it, but it definitely have it mounted in there. And as you can see, the problem is you can wiggle it front rear. Can't really tell on the camera as much as I can tell from over here, but it does wiggle. So I'm thinking to resolve that, I can put a tie down like back here and one in front, and then put a ratchet strap over the top of the tire and just ratchet it down in place. And I think that'll give it enough of a rigidity. I won't keep it from totally going, but that would definitely help, I think. And I did consider, and I looked at this earlier, is take that stand and then see if I could tie it off through the fender well. But when I went in over here and looked, you take all this plastic off here, and it's just from here way down to here, it's like a big empty hole. So the fender really, you know, it's way down here low. That wouldn't do it, because you can see from here the tire is about right here. That's the center, and my fender well is down in here. So I don't see that as an option, but I do think a tie down. Oh, I could also maybe use this tie down, strap it over an angle, and I bet you I can find another tie down over there, and that would pull it back and down. So let me experiment with that and see if there's already something existing in this Tahoe that can strap it down so it doesn't wiggle so much. And then get a tape measure, and from this side over to here, it's 36 inches, and then to the back seat, hold on, I've got probably 44 inches clear. You know, I still got a few inches, but the seat does tilt back about a bit. And I bet if you do the square footage on this, and then you look at a Toyota 4Runner or the back of a Jeep, you know, JK 4-door, whatever, I bet you I have about the same cargo space with my tire in here than you do than they do on a Jeep with the spare tire hanging off the back of the vehicle. So if you kind of look at it from that perspective, and I can just roll my front seats up. I mean, I got boatloads of space. This is why you go full size. You got room. I could actually roll this seat up and build in some stuff in here, which is part of the plan. And I won't need a tent because I'll be sleeping right there. Nice pad. I'll have a box up about 6-8 inches for all my camping gear, and it'll just slide all the way out. It'll be my camp table and camping gear storage stuff. And then I can put all my clothes and bags and whatever, you know, personal items up on the front, those seats in the back. I mean, there's just goo gobs of room, and it's all inside, and all protect from the weather, the dirt, all that stuff. So, but this is why I'm doing full size. You can get away with stuff like this. So, anyways, this probably has got a little more tweaking. And when I figure that out and finish it, I'll give you a summary on what I did, you know, besides just painting, and close out this. But we'll see you in a few seconds with updates. Well, back to the spare tire care. We took this on a road trip yesterday, and on the road, it's fine. As soon as you got off-road, anything bumpy, whatever, yeah, it's got way too much wiggle. And so let me show you something I found out on it. So you see down there, when I move it, you can just see the plate flexing on and off the carpet. Well, that little minor 1/2 degree, 1 degree of movement down there, well, you go up 3 feet. That's the same amount of angle, but you know, you get, instead of a fraction of an inch, you get a whole inch of or more of movement. So I do, under where these bolts are, there's actually spacers because, you know, these are dented. You can see them when I put my hand underneath the plate here. So what I need to do is take those spacers out and see if I can get it to suck down harder onto the floor. You know, it maybe even need to get the carpet out of here so it's metal on metal, and see if there's a way to drill and put a bolt right here, and maybe one on the other side, and then that would stop at least the back and forth. And then for the front to back rotation, which you can see it flexing there, that would actually help that too. But the strap down here, that worked out really well. So let me work on that, and we'll be right back. Let you know what I came up with. Okay, here's another round of spare tire mount. If you can see it right here. I actually got different bolts because I need shorter ones. But the plate is actually bowed right there. You can see it. And then you come up to here, and that used to be leaning back towards the fender well. Now it's leaning away from the fender well. That's partially because you can see the bow and the slope right here. But the point of it was, this in here was, you know, rocking when I would move the tire. You can see this rocking, and now, I mean, wow, what a difference. It's way better now. I still have a little more of the forward, but that strap idea, I'll take care of the forward motion. So I'm wondering if this is gonna, yeah, I'm a lot closer than I was before, because it was moving a good inch, and now we're looking at, you know, 1/4 inch. So that's a 75% improvement to lock it down. So now I'm kind of curious if I carve the carpet around the base plate and get that carpet and the foam out, and either find a way to bolt that down or commit and weld it in. That's kind of where we're headed there. So anyways, yeah, getting it nice and tight right back here. You're going to do this, you're going to have to find a solution to that. And if you do find a solution to that, then yeah, you'll be cooking with gas. So let me think about this some more, and I'll get right back to you. I'll let you know. You can find out what I do. I don't know yet. All right back. Next round of mods. So actually, I cut the carpet out, so there's no carpeting at all underneath the base plate. And you can see, you know, the ridges and the bumps and the holes in here. And the floor actually curves. It does a little bit of curvature. You know, it's not exactly flat or anything. So when I laid the plate on, I determined that I didn't need any kind of spacer under here. But under here, you can see that, you know, there's a bit of a gap. So I just put the amount of spacers needed to keep this flat, so it wouldn't, you know, tweak this thing back and forth when I mounted it on there. And then over here, I did the same thing. So there's actually spacers under here, both of these. And remember, I told you I wanted to use the ratchet strap to tie it down. So I have this tie down here. And I thought, well, what am I gonna do? Everybody says, oh, just weld something on. And I had this factory bracket that was for the back seat. The seats actually latch onto this, and it was meant just for these holes. So I thought, oh, just put it back up, put the spacers in there, and then I can put my hook under there. So that worked really well. But what's really new about this is there's an extra bolt here, right here. So if I looked under here, and it's actually just quite a bit of room here. And then I wanted to get this as close to the post as possible, and just drilled out. That's a 7/16 hole. I didn't want to push it past that because where this weld is, it made this pretty hot, and this still got super hard. So I just counting my blessings that I got to 7/16 and I'm gonna call it a day. Pop that through, and then when you go underneath, yeah, see that big old washer right here? Yeah, that spreads the load in there among all that sheet metal. You know, it all bent and formed when I tightened it up. So that's where that's at. But the problem of putting another one farther up or on the other side is these. This has the air conditioning in the rear. Actually has an evaporator, everything back here. Those lines actually go right where you go in front of the shock here on the body. Yeah, you can just kind of barely see. Those are refrigerant lines. It's right where the bolt want to go. So, A, I don't want to drill through those, and B, I can't move them. So it is what it is. But this is as solid as it ever has been. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think now with this one extra bolt strap, it should work. But I'm not going to take it out and paint it or anything yet, because until I take it off road and see, you know, starts banging around, well, so be it. Another thing I did too, let me show you, and this is because as I changed the location of changing elevation, so I slotted these holes, and then I made this piece, and that way I can move this up or down as needed to adjust for any kind of change. So anyways, and I think once I'm right where I need to be, I'll probably weld those nuts back on. So that's kind of where I'm heading on that one. So that's the latest update. I'm gonna put the tire in and drive it around, see how it works, and I'll be back. Okay, so still back on this spare tire care. I actually had to take a week off and take care of some personal business, but I'm back on it. I want to wrap this one up too. So this spare tire care, it works and drive off-road, everything, but it has one problem, and it has to do with safety. And the problem I'm looking at, let me show you here real quick, is if I'm going and I get in an accident and you know, head on, I roll a bunch of times, I don't want this thing coming off of this plate. It can bend, it can twist. I don't care what it does, but you know, I don't want a 150-pound spare tire bouncing around in my cabin. So for the final piece of this, this is a joint that I'm looking at that's, you know, because you got this as a torsion arm with the tire wanting to rack it around this way. So that's really going to be subject to getting ripped off. And it's not a very good joint the way I put that together either. So I'm going to reinforce that. I'm also going to put a bar from here down to the plate, triangulate this thing. And also I'm looking to do some sort of gusset right here. So because I don't want it to, you know, rip this off, give it some resistance, especially going forward, because that's the most likely scenario, you know, head on or, you know, hit the one corner where, you know, it wants to twist that thing around. So that's the project for today. Let me get at it, and I'm just going to throw scrap steel on. I'm not going to buy anything. And as soon as I'm done, I'll show you what I came up with. Well, that didn't take too long. Like I said, just scraps. And you can see, use a nice piece of, it's just like 3/4 inch pipe. It's actually gas pipe. So, because all the forces, this would be the front of the vehicle going that way. And so this will keep this thing from coming in here. And then you can see this piece in here. That'll keep this thing, if it wants to wrap or come off that, it's got a, I'm gonna have full weld here and here, and there's another one on the other side. And then for the mount plate, I just gonna give it this little piece because this is gonna want to go forward, gonna come this way, and want to twist on, you know, because most likely it'll be, you know, front end collision of sorts. So gonna weld all that in, and I think that's gonna give me as much safety as I could possibly put on it without this thing, you know, actually having interfering with the tire mounting on it. So there are some limitations there. So let me get to it, start welding. Well, there it is, fully welded. Got nice little gusset here, welded on both sides. And you got these pieces here, welded all the way around. Got this nice triangular support welded down here, welded at the top. Keep it from, you know, folding this, God forbid. And then did this plate here because that's all part of this, you know, this twist. You don't want it to like try to twist this part off. So it's gonna be really difficult. I mean, it's gonna be quite an impact to get that. So my hopes are that A, I never get in an accident. But in the event that I do get into one, wow, that was hot, my hand's burning. But this will hold. It can bend, it can warp. I don't care what it does, as long as the tire stays put back here. I'll be happy with it. My passengers will be happy with it. You know, that's where we got to go. So I think for this video, you got to see everything I went through to get some sort of spare tire mount in the back of the Tahoe. So really, I just got to let it cool off. And then after it cools off, clean it, paint it. You know, that's kind of the good part. Everybody can clean and paint, so I won't bore you with that part. But so yeah, I think that's it, and I'm pretty happy with it. And now I'm going to be really happy with it because it's definitely safer. And so when you ever build something like this, especially it's inside of your vehicle, always consider safety of you and your passengers. You don't want 150 pounds. You don't even want 10 pounds of stuff flying at you because it can kill you. And so from me to you, keep it safe. And I just want to say subscribe, and thanks for watching. Really appreciate you.